if you, oh wow, that makes active provider chests actually more useful. They basically made it so that whenever you destroy rocks, you don't have stones. And the fact that you can actually see things that are actually missing and then use that within the network, you can do an if-then statement on that. That's pretty cool. They basically offloaded all of that extra workload onto a completely different thread. So when you're playing the game and you search for something, they didn't really change anything in how the reactor actually operates. All they did was change All right, hello, my name is Mr. Wise Guy, and welcome to Friday Facts 426, 427, and 428. Yes, we're going to be doing all of them. So 426 is the research and assembler GUI improvements. GUI stands for Game User Interface, or you can call it the GUI, as like most coders would say. Hey, it's the GUI. It sounds weird, but it's fun to say. Then we got 427, combat balancing in space age LAN. They did some really nice, interesting things with balancing. It's actually pretty cool. I kind of like it. They've buffed a lot of things, and they've nerfed one thing that I hardly used anyways, so I'm not sure why they nerfed it, but we'll get into it. And the reactor and logistic circuit control. This one, I think, the logistic circuit control is the biggest thing. But anyways, remember to like and subscribe, and comments great too. Thank you very much. And we'll get into the first one, which is 426, and we'll gradually make our way to 27 and then 28. Very quickly though. So for the first one, obviously, we got some improvements to the GUI, or the GUI, or the gamer use interface. We have a new resource search feature, which allows players to locate resources on the map much easier. So like literally you just type stuff in, there it is, it tells you where it is, and it highlights it. That's just so nice. Nice quality of life increase. Performance-friendly design. Okay, well, you're not really going to notice this, but basically they did some optimizations to this search feature. So when you search things, since you have like multiple cores on your CPU, right? They put this whole search feature function in a completely different thread on your processor. So when you're searching for things on the map, and the map is like, I think the map is basically infinite. The more you discover, the more the game has to render out more stuff on the map. So the map can get pretty large, and then when you use the search feature, it's going to take a while to read every single content on that map that you've discovered. So they basically offloaded all of that extra workload onto a completely different thread. So when you're playing the game and you search for something, your game doesn't freeze to wait to load every single thing on the map and then start playing. So you won't get any hitches or anything like that. That's pretty cool. Enhanced visibility of resources, like obviously right here. As you can see, this is how it is new. Well, this is how it was before. But now, this is how it is, like, by default. And you could turn it off and turn it on. But yeah, this is pretty cool. I like this. This is a good quality of life change. Assembler crafting throughput tooltip now shows precise throughput calculations considering factors like machine quality, module effects, and beacon setups, especially useful for complex recipes in the space age. Yes, that is this stuff right here. Basically, everything that you would do like manually with like a calculator will now just be on the screen itself. That is just perfect. That is just perfect right here. Nice. I like it. I like it. We don't have to go to we don't have to use our calculator. We don't have to do math in our head. It just gives you all the math right here. Perfection. It tells you how much you're making per second. Oh, that's nice. That's nice. And that's really good, because a lot of things in this game is per second. Everything is converted to per second. Like, I don't like the game. You know how some games when you're trying to do, like, they give you per minute, and then sometimes they give you per second. They do you have to do like in Dyson Sphere program. I think they have a bunch of things that are per minute for the buildings, and then on the belt speed is per second. Like, they give you, then you have to do like a conversion whenever you want to like figure out what's the most optimal thing per belt on, like, from the machine in that game. It's just annoying. This is nice. This is nice. And everything is in per second. That's good. That's just one little gripe that I had in other things. But anyways, let's move on. Improved assembler GUI, which, yes, obviously, That's what this stuff is. Like, it's improved and they've added extra stuff to it. That's basically the gist that you gotta get for 426. Let's move on to 427, combat balancing and space age. Let me do the space age part because it's actually very, very freaking fast. It's basically, they put on a playtest event for the community to balance and test out space age expansion before its release, with creators involved, which that's pretty cool. And this is really nice. They all use their computers, their own LAN party, to test out space age, and they get some really good feedback, which is really nice. That's pretty cool. That's pretty simple. But the combat stuff, combat balancing, basically they made spawners in Factorio 1.0, because this is going to be what this is going to be talking about is Factorio 2.0, which is pretty cool. Satisfactory 1.0 just came out, by the way. I'm having a good time playing that. But they made the biter spawners basically evolve in health over time. In Factorio 1.0, they don't actually. They stay a consistent health throughout every evolution. So only the biters and spitters in Factorio 1.0 actually, and the worms that are stationary, basically turrets to protect their bases, they all increase in health and damage. But the bases, they basically just disappear and melt away. But now they've basically added an evolutionary curve onto these things so they have more health. That's basically all that you gotta see. They've done a lot of, they nerfed the laser, but everything else got buffed. Because everyone kept using the laser, the personal laser for your personal, personal lasers was just too strong. And cannon shells increase damage and range. Shotgun shells increase base damage. Rockets accelerate 2 times faster. That's pretty cool. And the destroyer capsules, they basically, they buffed everything. They buffed everything, which is nice. Everything but the lasers. That's basically all you need to know about that. And and there was a so you know how like when you destroy stuff, right? You destroy stone things, and then you this is a little bit of a quality of life improvement. Whenever you shoot a rocket onto like things, it just explodes and then the stone just goes all over the floor. Well, now you don't have to worry about like random stones inside of your... Here, let me show you. Let me zoom into this. You don't have to worry about stone just randomly going into your belts and then into your system, and you're like, what the hell? They basically made it so that whenever you destroy rocks, you don't have stones. Like, stones don't spawn in anymore. So yeah, they basically fixed it without actually doing some super complex thing. And that's pretty cool. And that's basically it and then we get to the LAN party, which you talked about already. Now let's go to the one that I like the most, honestly. And the reason why I'm doing these 3 all at once is because I just skipped them. There wasn't really a lot to talk about that I really cared to talk about. Like, that stone thing was pretty cool in 427, Friday Facts 427. But now let's go to Friday Facts 428. They talk about the reactor and the logistics circuit. Okay, so they didn't really change anything in how the reactor actually operates. All they did was change. Now you can actually read the temperature. Now you can read the contents of what's in the reactor and lots of other things as well. So if you want max efficiency, they basically made it so that you can see more numbers and manipulate and do things based on more, like, you basically have more options now to like manipulate things and do things based on certain circumstances, which is cool. I like that. Okay, smart reactor setup. This new system lets players create lossless reactors by preventing unnecessary fuel insertion, boosting efficiency. Roboport circuit enhancements. Chests can now be disabled via circuit networks, allowing better resource management by hailing deliveries or items distributed based on conditions. Players can now read missing logistic network items and roboport counts, streamlining large-scale automation setups. That's pretty cool. That is very freaking cool. Now we can actually see what we're missing, which we could not see in Factorio 1.0. And this LAN party thing that they have internally really helps them out. Like, I think this is way better to do. Like, just have an in-party system where you just get other random people to play it. You don't have to worry about them leaking it or anything like that, or having it go all over the world and you don't know their system setup or anything. It's much easier because they actually know the computers they're using and they can do diagnosis. It's very nice. So they're basically fleshing out all of the issues that they might have in the final release, which is supposed to come out October 21st. Okay, so it's a little bit over a month from now. Logistic chests control. I think Chests can now be disabled via circuits, allowing better resource management by hailing deliveries or items distribution based on conditions. So like now you could just turn off a chest with the logistic network. If you, oh wow, that makes active provider chests actually more useful, because active provider chests just like you put something in an active provider, it just oversaturates the entire. Usually it oversaturates your entire system because there's no way to like stop it unless you stop the items going into the chest in the first place, which I honestly didn't really care for. So I never used active provider chests. I just used passive provider chests because I only want things to be used when they need to be used, which is nice. And the fact that you can actually see things that are actually missing and then use that within the network. If this item is missing to this degree, you can do an if-then statement on that. That's pretty cool. But that's basically it. Like and subscribe and comment great too. Thank you very much. And let me know what you guys think about this. When I saw 426, I'm like, yeah, they did some GUI improvements. And then I'm looking at, is that it? And I'm like, that's basically it. That's all they did. And I'm like, do I really want to make like a 30-second video on this? So yeah, that's pretty cool. That's great. Remember to do what's on screen, and thanks for watching.